Thank you for hearing me. My name is Michael Mudd. I'm with the Menifee Tea Party. I just wanted to come up and thank the council and members here for working. I'm not sure exactly who is working the public address system. I know that Bill has it under his bailiwick to move this forward. It's something that the city desperately needs. I think most of the community would like to be aware of the goings-on of the city council and how it conducts itself. I believe, my understanding is that at the next city council meeting, Bill, this will be brought up, correct? The public announcement system, you are working on that, right?
Mayor and council, would you like to comment?
I don't understand, what, he's talking about the system where we're going to videotape the
Correct.
meetings?
Yeah, as we, not to be obtuse, as we noted earlier, though, the decorum policy does not allow for staff to interact with the public comments. If you'd like for me to answer the question, I'd be happy to.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. I called Bill, and we talked about this because this was a question that came from the community. Remember, I think it was a couple of days ago, I asked you, and this was something you said staff would be presenting to the council, I believe this next session or two.
Instead of answering right now, why don't you put that into some of your comments at the end, because that would be a good time. Anything else?
Okay, yeah. I'd like to say something in regards to the citizens that get up and talk with their concerns, and there is a place for civility. I think it is here. If you have a point, you make it. You know, to get nasty about it is really not necessary. And you might look at me and say, well, who are you to talk? There is a time and a place for, you know, for everything. The reason these people come forward with their concerns is not a personal attack on any council member or staff. It's simply to get the city council to do what they should be doing, do the right thing by the citizens. That's all I have. Thank you.
Ted?
Oh, me.
Ted Wagner.
Yeah. Come on. Someone took my coat the other day to this thing about Kathy Bennett and the recording, and I just found out about that yesterday, actually, and I read the article in the newspaper. So I don't know if this has been discussed at previous council meetings or anything, but I'd like to add my 2 cents on the subject. You know, I don't know, I've come to a lot of council meetings over the last couple of years, and from what I've seen of Kathy, that she's always been a cheerful person and conducted her behavior in the meetings has always been professional. So, you know, I just want to point that out. And I used to live in Oregon. And, you know, the laws in Oregon are not the same as California. You know, you can record a conversation in Oregon if you're a party to it. You don't need the other person's permission. So, and I understand it's different in California. You have to, it's 2-party. But there are so many laws and regulations. It's hard for, you know, I mean, you can, you know, walking out of your house and coming down to the city council, you can break a law inadvertently. And so what I got from the newspaper article I read, that Kathy wasn't really clear on what the law was, because she was asking for some guidance and direction, I think, from the city manager. So it looks to me like you know, we're a new city, and maybe, you know, we've gone through a bunch of city managers, and maybe the training wasn't as good as it should have been. And I do think it was out of order for Kathy to do that, but I don't think she had an evil intent. And the fact that she erased the message, that should be the end of the matter. you know what, somebody said a slap on the wrist. I think, okay, Kathy, that was out of order, reprimand, and I'm sure she's probably willing to apologize, but it shouldn't be a big deal. You know, it shouldn't be. You know what, here's my favorite book, the New Testament. It says in there, you know what, for all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. So I think that we can find a little bit of forgiveness in our heart for Kathy, who has basically done a good job. So I wanted to be sure I touched on that. And if I have a couple of seconds left, I'd like to say, although RCUC is a good place to go and hear speakers here in Menifee, I don't deny that at all, Gary. Southwest Conservative Republicans at the Menifee Lakes Country Club is also a great place to go hear speakers. This Friday night at 6 p.m., I'd like to invite all the council people as well as the members of the audience, and you don't have to be a Republican to come, to hear Brad Dacus of the Pacific Justice Institute. They filed an amicus brief on the Obamacare with the Supreme Court, and he'll be one speaker. And we'll also have Luis Reyes of Inland Empire Oath Keepers.
Thank you very much, Ted.
That's all the public commenters under the public comment section, Your Honor.
Council member updates. Does anyone have anything they'd like to tell us about? Council member Furman.
There we go. All right. I just want to reiterate on the stuff Earl said. I think we have some great things going to be announced at the Quill Valley meeting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And if anybody else is interested and you don't live in Quill Valley, you can still go over and attend the meeting. And also this so-called sting operation, Paul Cook is introducing a bill on the red light cameras that catch people on a California stoplight going around the corner. And he's kind of appalled that the fine is so much, and the bill, he wants it reduced to $30. And something like this, the operation, I feel, should be really possibly a warning or a slap on the hand or an education process. But no matter how it's handled, the judge has the final say on the amount of your fine. So I would recommend that you all stand together and talk to the judge about it. Thank you.
Councilmember Christensen. Councilmember Edwards. I have things. Do you have some?
Just a clarification, Bill Rawlings got a question. I've heard a rumor, I don't even know if it's constitutional, but I want to make sure that it's not. We have a lobbying group and all of us are concerned about our VLF funds, and I asked you something similar to this the other day. I was informed, it does sound real to me, that the state is willing to give back the monies to the cities, the 4 cities who were particularly hit hard, and give them back their VLF funds, but at the same time those particular cities would have the fees, just those cities, the fees on their licenses annually would be increased. I wouldn't have thought that would be constitutional. Maybe I'm wrong, but have you heard anything at all about that?
I haven't heard anything at all about fees being increased selectively as you put forward, and I agree with your assessment, although we could find the answer to that question. My initial reaction is the same as yours. I don't think it would be appropriate or allowed to be raised in that fashion. While I don't know what the state will or will not do, we are requesting and aggressively pursuing the idea that we would have our VLF funds restored. And we don't know, there's been no action by the state at this time, but I haven't heard anything about a selective raising of fees, and I agree with you that I don't believe it's possible that could be done. But we will find out the answer to that question and report back at a subsequent council meeting.
Well, of course, that constitutional or not, we never know what that legislative body up there may do. Who would have thought they would have taken the fees away in the first place? But that, I would find that to increase the fees of our citizens to get back our funds is robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I can't believe, I think everyone would object to that. Just as I know we talk about this under future agenda items, but Mr. Rawlings, you and I have talked about this before. We've talked so much in this community about soils testing and contamination and sludge. It's going to be on the agenda this coming May 1st.
Mayor and Council, that's correct. We've been working actually for many, many months on this subject matter, as we have discussed, and exploring what the city can and cannot do, understanding what the state laws are and so forth and so on. And we do have a recommendation that we would like to bring forward for your consideration at the next council meeting.
Thank you. And I would just really urge people who have any concern about that issue to be here and express yourself. And in fact, Mayor, it is such a deep issue that I would hope that if it is extended at all, that maybe some people might have an opportunity to speak more than 3 minutes. That's your prerogative. But if we get to that point, Tom Furman and I have discussed the idea that probably what we're after in clarification on that issue may not be satisfied on a regular agenda, that we may subsequently want to go to a workshop. I would be supportive of that, and I suppose the whole council would be. In reference to the K-9 unit, we lost somebody in this community, Kim Gohl, who worked with the K-9 unit up on Murrieta, and several of us in the audience here were at her memorial here this last Saturday. And that's why a couple of the speakers I know brought up the fact that if there's any way the city can help that organization, this is in no way to be negative about the Friends of the Valley, who are a very reputable firm, do what they need to do, and they must by law in certain circumstances euthanize some animals. There's no way around that. So when you have an opportunity to find something like the K-9 unit that is a no-kill facility, you got a lot of people out there that are hopeful if there's anything we can do to support them, and if that would take some of the effort that we have to put in to be supportive of Friends of the Valley, and it could be determined in dollar terms, and we could, zero-sum game help them, I would really appreciate some feedback on that. And last, just to defend the mayor, Denver, as I always do, as your comments, Mr. Yoder, he did not say damn the torpedoes and find those poor souls in Sun City. Being a gentleman, I would wish to say that was Councilwoman Sue Christensen.
Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate the support. A positive effort there. And we should take it that way, right, Sue? Sue Christensen, do you have something you'd like to say?
I have a few things, but I don't remember in my entire life saying damn the torpedoes ever. I just don't recall ever having said that. I have a few comments. First of all, at the last meeting, those of you who were here know that I was asked not to continue with the crime reports. I have been asked since then by several people to absolutely continue with the crime reports. And I will do that. And if it bores any of you or you don't have an interest in it, feel free to leave the room, make a phone call, go to the restroom. But when I have constituents that ask me for something, I'm going to do it. And until it becomes a problem, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it tonight, but I will start again next meeting. I'm also thrilled to report that the Boys and Girls Club effort that I'm working